Good morning, everyone. Got your coffee? I've got mine. So listen, before I start talking about what I want to talk about today, because I do want to talk about something very specific today, I need to say thank you to Sweet June. Sweet June, thank you so much for buying me a cup of coffee. As a matter of fact, this Wednesday, we're going to try out a new coffee house. Now, I'm not real excited about this coffee house because the few times that we've passed it, they didn't give off that diversity vibe, if you know what I mean. Well, my husband here in South Carolina, and I have to give the state this, they have the most beautiful old historical buildings. And this coffee house is situated in such a building. And my husband, he loves looking at these old buildings and all of the history here, and he likes the architecture of the buildings. That fascinates him. He likes looking up the history of all these buildings and learning about that kind of thing. So we're going to go to this coffee house on Wednesday. I'll tell you guys all about it on Thursday. But anyway, I also have to say thank you to Tracy B. Tracy B, thank you so much for helping out with that library pantry. Yesterday, it wore me out. I was so tired. And then just when I got done and locked up for the day, here comes the delivery, the mail delivery with Costco boxes. And I didn't have the strength or the energy, so I'll do it today because when we do those orders, that's a whole thing onto itself, because you have to fight for the old stuff, the old inventory, which we don't have a whole lot of lately because we're getting cleaned out day after day. So it should be easier this time around, but we got a lot of stuff in to help people out. And so thank you so much. Also, while I'm saying thank you, there was someone specifically that sent in funds for the bags, because I did a lot of senior bags yesterday too. I want to thank you so much for that. With what you put with it and with what I put with it, I was able to get those bags so that, I just like the brown bags, I know they cost money, and yeah, I know I could recycle my grocery bags, but I just think that this makes it special for the seniors because there's no name brand on it. It looks like they've gone shopping. It helps to keep their dignity intact, I just like those bags, and thank you so much for contributing to that. With that said, I want to tell y'all a little story if I can. When I used to work at Chrysler, mind you, Chrysler is a really big facility. At any given time, there are about 6,000 people that work there in that facility. And with so many people, there are going to be people that you just don't vibe with. And you're going to have to work in very close proximity with them. Now, you know that there are two sides to an automobile. So most jobs, the job that you do on one side of the vehicle, there's usually another person on the other side of the vehicle doing that job just on the opposite side. Not always, but most of the time. And I would go years and years and years without talking to the other person on the other side, unless I had to, because I didn't like them. I didn't vibe with them, but I could work with them, you see, because that was my job. It was my job to, and sometimes you would have to communicate with them. You would have to say, lift the headliner up a little bit more, or you would have to say, wait, hold up, let me get the IP unit onto the screw or the hook or whatever. Hold on, I'm not done with the wires. Sometimes, but a lot of times you didn't have to communicate that because the jobs are you're so in sync. You know what the other person is on or needed. They need another couple of minutes or another couple of seconds. You don't get minutes, another few seconds to finish up their part of the job. Or it'd be the person working next to you or the person working down one car down from you that you just didn't vibe with. But y'all are on a team, you see, and you have to work together as a team. You have team meetings once a week for about 15 minutes before every shift. And you talked out how to, make things easier for the team and what was beneficial for the unit, because we all work together as a team. Now, I say this to say that lessons were learned on the assembly line, life lessons. While our people, Black people, are getting ready to be challenged, and a lot of people will not be receiving their SNAP benefits this month, we as Black people can work as a team, even though we may not vibe with other Black people. You see, when I volunteered at the Library Pantry, at the Central Pantry, there were people that worked there and volunteered there that I didn't like. Ran their mouth, were nosy bodies, busy bodies, thought that they were the boss of you, even though you are a volunteer, same as they are. And you just learn to ignore those people and continue to serve people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you were there for. That's what you were there to do. And even with the Library Pantry, and when I deliver senior bags, there are going to be people that I don't vibe with. Like there's this one gentleman, and my husband wants me to cut him off so bad. But I keep telling him, he was like, I don't know why you keep taking him food. Just cut him off because he's rude. And I have explained to my husband that sometimes anger and hostility, fear can look like other things, like anger and hostility. And I know that this man is fearful because I know fear when I see fear. And that's why I continue to work with him. I don't have to like him in order to help him. And I just want to remind Black people that there are going to be people in the community that are going to need help that you ain't going to like and you ain't necessarily going to work with. Now, mind you, I'm the queen of the cutoff game. Don't nobody cut a motherfucker off quicker than I do. I'll cut you dead off. I have no problems with it, baby. None. But when it comes to other Black people, I realize that not everybody is as far along in things like emotional intelligence or healing the way that I am. I realize that a lot of us are unhealed. And if I need for people to be perfect, excuse me, before I help them, then I'll never be really, truly in a position to help anybody. And I need y'all to remember that people are not perfect. Our people are traumatized. A lot of people of our people are unhealed. And you ain't got to like them in order to help them. I see every day in other communities how they are coming together during this time to help their own people through this. And I see some white people that are still downing people who are on SNAP. But I see other white people who are getting into community and getting ready to help their people survive this. And I see other communities doing it too. And Black people, we have to do it too. Regardless of how we may feel about each other, we have to set those personal feelings aside. And we just have to help each other as best we can. And we really have to do our best in this moment. If now was ever the time to deconstruct from internalized racism and not treat each other the way we have been conditioned to treat each other and not handle each other the way we have been conditioned to handle each other, and not see each other the way we have been conditioned to see each other. Now is the time for that. Now is the time for us to recognize the humanity in one another and just help each other. I saw where Tabitha Speaks Politics, I saw your message, well, your comment, where you said on your job, y'all getting ready to start a pantry. And last night, I was talking to my husband, and I convinced him to do it on his job too. He's going to go in and talk to the big bosses on his job, and they're going to start a pantry too. If you can start those pantries on your job, start them on your job. We don't need to depend on other people, other communities to help us. We are enough. And we don't need to to depend on the government to help us thrive. We are enough. We are our own people. We can figure out our own problems, our own issues, and we can help our own people. Again, if your church doesn't have a pantry, I question what kind of religion or God y'all serving if your church don't have a pantry. And start it at your jobs, start it at your child's daycare, your child's school, everywhere that you can. Put a cabinet at the end of your driveway and start it. If you live in a predominantly black neighborhood. And enough with the excuses. So many of y'all, when I start telling you that mutual aid and community is the way for black people to go, y'all got more excuses than a Negro going to jail as to why it is you can't seem to do your part. As long as you have a good enough excuse, that's a reason for you to not do your part. We all should be doing our part. I remember in therapy, when I was in therapy, and I realized that I was going to have to become the change that I wanted to see. Not only in my life, but within my own community. That it was going to have to start with me. And I know that a lot of y'all don't like Facebook and y'all are not on Facebook. The Village is over on Facebook. It used to be known as The Room. I'll leave the link to that down in the comments. But let me tell you, before you hit that link and you try to come into that group, know that it's called The Village for a reason. Because we're building community over there. And if you know that you're not going to participate in that, you're not going to help us do that, we're sharing resources over there too, by the way. Then I tell you that this is not the group for you, because I do every Friday remove stagnant members, because we want people who are going to contribute to the real problems and issues that black people are having. And if that's not you, the group is not for you. But also over on Facebook, you're going to find a lot of groups where you're going to find the people who are involved in mutual aid. Right now, I see a lot of the whites, and it's just the truth. They are combining together, and they have these buy nothing groups, and they're giving away things that they don't need. They're sharing things that they have extra. They are. Black people, we have this thing where we're having this blackout during Black Friday. And we say that we are protesting with our dollars instead of our bodies now. If that is the truth, you need to be belonging to at least one of these buy nothing groups where people don't have to buy anything. You're not throwing anything away. If you got a bed and you need a sofa, and somebody got a sofa and they need a bed, come together. We need to be spending as less as possible. We need to be, especially Black people, we need to be protesting with our dollars, not our bodies. No more free labor. That is all that I have for today. If you would like to support the platform, buy me a cup of coffee or the Library Pantry. I'll leave my Cash App and my Venmo down in the comments. Y'all have a righteous day. Don't beat nobody's problem today. Help other Black people today. Have a good day.